It was a clear summer night in rural West Virginia. The stars were out in full force, and a gentle breeze rustled through the trees. I was camping with my best friend, Mark. We were both excited to escape the city and enjoy the peace of nature. We roasted marshmallows over a crackling fire. We talked about life, our dreams, and everything in between. It was the perfect escape from our everyday lives. As the fire died down, we decided to call it a night. We retreated to our separate tents, zipped up our sleeping bags, and drifted off to sleep. The last thing I remember was the sound of crickets chirping and the feeling of the cool night air against my face. Little did I know, this peaceful night was about to take a terrifying turn. As I glanced around the tent, I noticed a strange glow emanating from outside. It was an unnatural light, pulsating and growing in intensity. Curiosity warred with fear as I unzipped my tent and peeked out into the night. That's when I saw it. Hovering above the trees, casting an eerie glow upon the forest floor, was a large, oval-shaped object. It was massive, smooth, and metallic, with no visible seams or rivets. Lights pulsed rhythmically along its underbelly, bathing the surroundings in an otherworldly glow. My mind struggled to make sense of what my eyes were seeing. I tried to call out to Mark, but my voice caught in my throat. A strange pressure filled the air, making it difficult to breathe. The only sound was the blood pounding in my ears and the frantic beating of my heart. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the light intensified, engulfing me completely. The next thing I knew, everything went black. When I regained consciousness, I was no longer in my tent. Instead, I found myself lying on a cold, hard surface. As my eyes adjusted to the dim light, I realized I was in a circular room. It was metallic and sterile, with smooth curved walls and a domed ceiling. Panic surged through me as I took in my surroundings. I was alone, trapped in this strange place with no memory of how I got there. It was then that I noticed them. Tall, slender figures standing silently in the shadows. As they drew closer, I could make out their features. Large, black eyes, and long, thin limbs. Terror gripped me, rooting me to the spot. The beings communicated without words, their thoughts somehow appearing in my mind. They assured me they meant me no harm, that they were here to study me, to learn about human physiology. Despite their reassurances, fear coursed through my veins. I was their subject, a specimen to be examined and analyzed. They strapped me down to a table that seemed to materialize out of thin air. I felt a sharp, stinging sensation as they inserted needles into my arms, drawing blood and collecting samples. Cool, metallic instruments probed and prodded at my flesh, causing flashes of pain to shoot through my body. I tried to resist, to fight back, but I was helpless against their advanced technology and overwhelming presence. They scanned my brain, extracted memories, and performed a series of tests I couldn't begin to comprehend. Throughout the entire ordeal, I felt a strange mix of terror and detachment. It was as if I was watching the scene unfold from outside my own body, unable to control my own actions or reactions. I was a prisoner in my own mind, trapped in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The fear I felt was unlike anything I had ever experienced. It was primal, visceral, the kind of fear that seeps into your bones and chills you to your core. My mind raced, trying to make sense of the impossible, to find a rational explanation for this bizarre and terrifying situation. But the more I struggled against it, the more I realized the futility of my situation. Paradoxically, as the examination continued, a strange calmness washed over me. It was as if a part of me had simply accepted the reality of my situation, surrendering to the unknown. I felt strangely detached, as if none of this was really happening, as if it were all just a vivid, horrifying dream. But deep down, I knew this was no dream. This was all too real. The beings continued their work with a cold, clinical efficiency. They seemed fascinated by my physiology, by the intricacies of the human body. I was a puzzle they were determined to solve, a mystery they were driven to unravel. And as they delved deeper, I felt a strange connection forming between us, a shared understanding that transcended language and culture. Time seemed to lose all meaning inside that craft. Minutes felt like hours, and hours felt like days. I lost track of how long they kept me, how many tests they conducted. My memories of the experience were fragmented, like pieces of a shattered mirror, reflecting only distorted glimpses of the truth. Then, just as abruptly as it had begun, it was over. They led me back to a platform, bathed in a blinding white light. The familiar feeling of weightlessness enveloped me, and then everything went black once more. When I awoke, I was back in my tent. The sun was rising, casting long shadows across the forest floor. My head throbbed, and my body ached. But I was home. Or at least, that's what I told myself. But as I stumbled out of my tent and into the morning light, I knew deep down that things would never be the same. The world seemed different somehow, sharper, more defined. The air smelled different, cleaner, crisper, and I was different. Section 7. The Aftermath. The days and weeks that followed were a blur of confusion and disbelief. I tried to block out the memories, to convince myself it had all been a bad dream. But the memories lingered, resurfacing in vivid flashbacks and nightmares. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of being followed. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, and I began to question my own sanity. I experienced strange physical ailments. Migraines that left me debilitated, unexplained scars that appeared overnight, and a persistent ringing in my ears. My sleeping patterns were erratic, plagued by nightmares of the craft and the beings. I lost my appetite and grew increasingly withdrawn, isolating myself from friends and family. The experience left me deeply shaken, emotionally scarred. I felt violated, vulnerable, and utterly alone. No one I confided in believed my story. They dismissed it as sleep paralysis, a vivid dream, or worse, a sign of mental instability. But I knew what I had seen, what I had experienced, and I knew I wasn't crazy. Section 8. Seeking answers. Desperate for answers, I began to research UFO sightings and alien abductions. I devoured books, articles, and documentaries, searching for any shred of information that could shed light on my experience. I sought out support groups, hoping to connect with others who might understand what I was going through. To my surprise, I discovered I was not alone. Countless others from all walks of life had shared similar experiences. They too had encountered the strange lights, the missing time, the terrifying yet awe-inspiring beings. Hearing their stories, sharing our experiences, provided a sense of validation, of knowing that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't alone. But even within these groups, there were no easy answers. Theories abounded, ranging from government experiments to interdimensional beings, but no definitive proof existed. We were left to grapple with our experiences, to piece together the fragments of our shattered realities and try to make sense of the unexplainable. Section 9. Living with the unexplained. Over time, I've learned to live with the uncertainty, with the knowledge that some things in this universe defy explanation. The fear has subsided, replaced by a profound sense of awe and wonder. The experience has fundamentally changed me, challenged my perception of reality, and forced me to confront the vastness of the unknown. I still have questions, of course. Why me? What did they want? What does it all mean? But I've come to accept that some answers may never be found, and perhaps that's okay. Perhaps the true value of such experiences lies not in finding definitive answers, but in the journey of exploration, of questioning our assumptions and expanding our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The experience has taught me to appreciate the preciousness of life, the fragility of our existence. It has instilled in me a deep sense of empathy for others, for those who have also experienced the unknown, the unexplained. And it has ignited within me a burning desire to seek out the truth, no matter how elusive it may be. Section 10. A changed perspective. I still remember the fear, the confusion, the overwhelming sense of helplessness. But I also remember the awe, the wonder, the strange sense of connection I felt with those beings. They showed me a glimpse of a reality beyond our comprehension. I may never fully understand what happened to me that night, but I am grateful for the experience. I am no longer the same person I was before that night, And in doing so, I have discovered a strength and resilience I never knew I possessed. The experience has taught me that the universe is a vast and mysterious place,